Good evening. I'm Father Russ Carmichael, and this is Street Talk. I want to say to all my viewers, thank you as usual for allowing me into your home and visiting with you and for following us. So we really appreciate it at Street Talk. We really appreciate all the viewing that you seem to be doing on our latest shows, and especially around the race relationships and the show we did with Bruce Morris. Representative Morris has been really highlighting on YouTube and on our Street Talk site. It's got more hits than I think anything else right now this week, over 7,000 already. So really want to thank you for your interest in that, and please stay with us. The other thing I want to, as I always do, I want to say hello to all my local people that are out there in New London and thank them, and we pray for all of you who are having problems and that are sick, and I know you pray for us, and we say hello to Bobby and Darren, and we have Stephen that right now is in Yale Hospital undergoing an operation, and our prayers are up for Stephen and all our community here, okay, that follow us and have been loyal listeners to us now for 13 years, I guess, and we're real sorry about our mayor who's having most difficulty. Michael Passero scolded me a little, said I should back off, and I said, well, why should I back off, Michael? He said, you know, Father, you never kill a man who's committing suicide. So, to you, Mr. Finozio, God bless you. And, if you're not around tomorrow and you moved out of the city, you know how I feel about it. Good luck. Okay. Aside from that, I have a great guest with me on his return. He's done now several shows with me this week. Michael Maynard. God bless you, Michael. And of course, Michael is a journalist and a writer, and among other things, right?
This week, yes.
This week, yes, right?
Yeah, you never know next week.
You never know what's going on, right?
Yes.
But you're down from Boston with me.
I'm down from Stowe, Mass, yes.
Yeah, right. You're down from Stowe, Mass. You did sister show, Town Talk, with Kathy Johnson. Okay, and I'm sure that's up and that's up and going around probably before this show hit the news.
Well, Kathy's wonderful. She's very outgoing. She's very opinionated. We had a very good discussion yesterday about women's rights and women's relations.
Right.
And fortunately, because that's an area that you and I know nothing about.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Especially me.
Well, between the two of us, we have a history, yes,
yeah, right.
As far as that goes. So, no, Kathy is kind of a natural, and she will do very well.
Yeah, she's a great gal, and of course I deal with her in the disability sections and advocacy, and she's a joy. She was a really joy to meet, and so happy that she's part of our coalition, and really great lady. I really do love you, Kathy, because I know she watches our stuff.
Yeah. Well,
what's the issue of the day? I know we started to talk about what's.
Well, we've had we had a little back and forth between us about the issue of the death penalty, and in the greater Boston area, everybody has been riveted with the two murder cases, the Aaron Hernandez and the Dokar Tsarnaev case. The Hernandez case being a state case. He can only be sentenced to life in prison, not death penalty, but Tsarnaev, being a federal case, is now going through the penalty phase of the trial. And so the question is he going to be life imprisonment or the death penalty?
I was confused on that. I thought because of where he was being tried, that he would be exempt from the death penalty.
No.
My mistake, and I'm usually on that stuff, right? And I've been so busy, I didn't, I didn't follow that as closely. He's under the federal.
Well, he's under federal because my understanding is it's a terrorist act.
It's a terrorist act. That's right. Of course, I knew that, and I know all about that, but I wasn't following the sentencing that much, and I was obviously as a Bostonian, I was really, I was really, really concerned. Okay, and as a one who comes from a family of first responders, some of whom were right there, close. My cousin's son and daughter, and one of my cousins were very, very close to when it went off. And then when they went after them, of course, my brother was called out. My brother's a sheriff now a sheriff, and was part of the group that went after them. It really,
Well, it was a tragic event. Normally, I don't watch television during the day while I'm working, but I have it on for the Boston Marathon, and and you expect the normal Boston Marathon. I've attended. It's a wonderful spring event.
Great event.
Great.
I got girls that are runners, and me too. And everything.
And then all of a sudden, boom. And it got me to reflect on the issue. I was having a conversation with an attorney friend of mine, Judy Wayne, and we were going back and forth. She's a trial lawyer, going back on this and saying, we're both conflicted about the subject, whether or not he should receive the death penalty. Now, on the one hand, we're both raised in you and I are both raised in the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church is very adamant about that.
Right.
And I'm not bloodthirsty by any extent of the imagination, but in going back and starting to write about this and doing my research and looking at the videos, what truly bothered me about this is that Tsarnaev made the decision about where to plant the bomb, the backpack bomb, for maximum effect. He planted it right in back of the Richard family, and the Richard family lost mother and daughter, mother and son, and the daughter is badly injured. The Richard family has testified in the trial phase, and I believe they've testified in the penalty phase, and they've come out and asking for him to be life imprisonment. As Judy Wayne says, that even if it is the death penalty, with appeals and through the appeal process, it would be another 14 years.
I was just going to say 11 to 14 years, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
But then the secondary issue is, at what expense? He's 21 years old. He's going to be spending a life in prison, and that's going to be in the millions of dollars over the course of his lifetime to be holed up in a small little cell with bare amenities, getting his 3 meals a day. So, what's the balance here?
Well, we're looking at this as a deterrent. It sends a clear message to terrorists, because we are talking at the terrorist level. We're not talking about your average killer, murderer, or whatever. We're talking about individuals that tried to terrorize the country, which they did. There's no question about it. The fear, people still have a lot of fear. A lot of people didn't go to the things this year and are afraid of events because of these individuals that are seeking to terrorize the country. So I think that raises it to a different level.
Well, yeah, and Tsarnaev is Muslim.
That's right.
From Kyrgyzstan, and which
but
does
McVeigh wasn't.
Well, McVeigh wasn't, but and what McVeigh did was equally heinous.
Exactly right. Yeah, right.
If not more, he blew up the Oklahoma City.
He blew up Oklahoma City
federal building.
Yeah, 160 some odd people killed.
Right.
And with babies too. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, right. But this guy tried to do basically similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
But
I don't care about the religion.
Well, I know, but it does. But given what's going on in the Middle East, it does raise another aspect of it. And if he's charged with the death penalty, can it be used given that ISIL is recruiting in the United States for recruits, can that be used as part of the training, or the promotion to get new recruits from the United States? Can it be used for fodder to create another incident in the United States? These are issues that we haven't really dealt with a whole lot. And
yeah, but either or, whether he's dead or alive, you can use they're going to use they're going to use what he did. They're going to promote him as a hero. Either way, okay? But marginalized people, okay? Marginalized people thinking about going down this avenue. See, people can't tell me it's not a deterrent. Okay? Because if you're thinking about going down this avenue, you're talking about death, ending your life. If you get away with it, you're gonna go. You're a dead person.
Well, I don't know which is worse, and one of the issues is if he is sentenced to the death penalty, does he become a martyr in the eyes of the Muslim world, of many in the Muslim world, that here is the United States, fighting in the Middle East, and with the history of what's going on in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places, he becomes a symbol and can be used to say that, look, here's this great United States, and who claims to be the bastion of freedom and liberty, but they're going to put our brother to death. Well, and it also raises the issue is that, or could be used for the issue of persecution of Muslims.
Nobody's nobody's persecuting him. In fact, you can look at the history of what they did, his schooling and everything else. There is no way you can build a persecution argument against these individuals that blew up our people at our event. And he didn't attack a military installation. They went out deliberately and attacked civilians for terroristic reasons. That's like saying Bonnie and Clyde are they're heroes to bank robbers.
Well, I know that,
to me,
Russ,
in my opinion.
Yes, Russ, and from that standpoint, we're in agreement.
Yeah, well, I'm being the devil that, I'm coming on hard on this one, right?
Right, well, but we're viewing it from our perspective here. It's also a question of how does it play in the rest of the world.
Well, see, now, I really, in this particular instance, I don't care. I care about what my people see me doing to protect our nation against clowns like this that are going to attack our civilian population. Now, if he attacked the military, I might have a different view, because warrior to warrior, I mean, I have a belief, warrior to warrior, okay, but to go out and to... From a mafia perspective, I hate to tell you, there's a big difference between somebody who goes out and deals with the level of stuff that you're dealing with that is criminal, and then goes into civil society and kills some innocent people that had nothing to do with what you're doing. I mean, that's the kind of view that I come up with, and I say, you know what I want, everybody's going to find out what. Yes, I think they need to go and get rid of this individual and kill him, and that's my belief. So because of that, but that's where I'm coming from.
Well, but that's why I'm ambivalent about it. The fact that he targeted the Richard family, the fact that he saw he saw the young family there enjoying themselves, and decided deliberately to put the knapsack behind them. That's heinous. Now the question. Sorry, folks. The question.
No, Micah's here. That's why. Okay, we have our surprise guest that's coming. Who was late and everything else, and our wonderful crew that is always good with me, that helped me. Joe and Reggie are trying to take care of me, and they're going to try and sneak Mike in here. So I think you okay,
Yeah,
and that's what's going to and that's what's going to happen. So that's what's going on, folks. And you all know my wonderful guest who's going to be with us, joining us, Mike Linnard. Okay, he's on the way. Okay. And he's probably going to step right in front of the cameras and everything else, right? As we try, there he goes, right in front of Father. There we go. Okay. Joe has done so good. We're talking about Michael. What we're doing is we're talking about the Boston bombing of the marathon and enunciation of the name.
Tsarnaev.
Tsarnaev. I want to add something else with the way the spelling is, right? But it is Tsarnaev. Okay, and in this particular incident, I'm for the death penalty. I think they should whack the guy. Okay, killed innocent people. In fact, my family, first responders, were very close to what happened in this situation. My brother was with the group that went out to get him at night, who was a sheriff in Massachusetts. He blew up people, and as far as I'm concerned, any terrorist that does that any place deserves the death penalty when we get him. And of course, we're not sure. Michael is ambivalent to the situation. And of course, we're taught that you don't seek revenge and
well, we're taught not to seek revenge.
We're not to seek revenge.
Yes, forgiveness.
And all that stuff. Well,
yes.
In this
and redemption.
And redemption.
Yeah.
Well, here's where you know what I mean? Here's where my stuff comes off, you know? Oh, maybe, I don't know, maybe God will take care of him and he'll die in his prison cell.
Well, I'm British, so I come from a different perspective on this.
Okay.
In Britain, we stopped the death penalty. I think it was in the sort of early 60s.
Even for terrorists? There's no exemption in England?
No, none whatsoever. There just is no death penalty at all.
Well, maybe that's why Scotland wants to break from you guys.
They've shown no inclination of wanting to restate it. But you know, that's just a blanket. You know, it comes up every now and again in Parliament for a vote, and it's normally 1,000 to 1.
You guys are going to get against me on this, right? And I just started thinking about Shire.
There's lots of reasons why.
In Germany, some of the Nazis that didn't get executed, that died in prison and stuff like that. Those should have killed. As far as I'm concerned, I would have done I would have done it myself.
Well,
forgive me, Lord. See, that's why Jesus is my straitjacket. Because you wouldn't want me loose.
Well, there's 14 states that in the United States who do not have the death penalty. Massachusetts and Connecticut are two of them.
Only 14.
Only 14.
Yeah.
Last year there was somewhere around 800 people that were executed. And we can get, there's been a lot written about how problematic the application of the death penalty has been. That they found there's situations where using the electric chair doesn't work. Then the issue of the injection of the drugs.
That's right.
And that hasn't always worked. And now the pharmacies, the compounding pharmacies in Europe, will not sell into the United States because they're being used for the death penalty.
I happen to know what works.
Well, that's
I know what works,
Well,
okay?
but that's being tried in Utah.
Okay, but across the states, I voted against the death penalty here in Connecticut, and was one of the leaders that was in the coalition to oppose the death penalty here in Connecticut, and we went through a real struggle here, and I understood all the complications. But my reasons here was because it's of equal application. I also voted against the death penalty in Massachusetts when, I was a resident at the time that they did that. Okay, but. Saying that, I think terrorism is at a different level. That is the thing about terrorism is to go after a group of civilians from another group and to blow up these unarmed, innocent people to inflict serious fear on the rest of the community. And I think that needs to be handled in a different way. Now, you know, I might not get my way, but that's, and I'm also, of course, England should. I mean, they did enough horrible things way back when. Maybe they're feeling guilty.
And it's not your fault, Mike, too.
And it's not your fault.
Yes, it is.
I don't deny the dark,
The dark ages.
the dark history
The dark history.
of,
Right.
the British Empire.
Yeah, the British Empire, right. Exactly.
But all I can say is from my perspective, I lived with it most of my life in the 60s. Just the public got tired of you know, the errors and, you know, innocent people dying. And they just decided that, you know, it's not something that
Yeah, I
they
mean,
want
you
to
were
do.
the Troubles, right? You were right there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When all that, I mean, talk about terrorism.
IRA, yeah.
IRA and stuff like that, right? That, I was, you know, that's right. You were brought up right in.
Oh, no, I was...
Yeah.
You know, you had one bomb early on in the Troubles that killed about 30 people in a pub.
In a pub.
In
Just having a
Birmingham.
beer.
Yeah.
Good.
And they caught what they thought were the people on the ferry back to Ireland, subjected them to the usual sort of treatment.
Yeah.
And
They wish they were dead.
had a kind of trial, put them in prison, and then 15 years later were proved to be,
The wrong ones.
not the people who did it. And, you know, and since then, in actual fact, the real bombers have said, you know, they were long gone.
Yeah, and we just recently saw about
But they were put in prison for 15 years, so they were able to be released as innocent. Had we had the death penalty, it probably all would have died.
Yeah, well, you can't necessarily trust all the scientific evidence. We just saw about the FBI crime labs, and that the hair analysis. Well, that including at one time, at one point, they introduced dog hair instead as human hair. But they found that 95% of the time that the FBI crime lab trumped up the level of certainty about the hair analysis. Now, in the case of Tsarnaev, there's video.
Yeah, exactly right.
There's no question about whether or not he did it.
Yeah, no kidding. It traced all over the place, followed.
And there's DNA evidence and all the rest of it.
Right.
Everything.
He's nailed.
There's no question that he's guilty.
Right.
The question is what to do with him.
Exactly.
And the consequences of what's to do with him. Now, personally, what bothers me, well, yes, the whole business with with the Martin family bothers me. But also what bothers me is the fact that we will be spending millions and millions of dollars on this individual, whom you rightly mentioned, got very favorable treatment while he was here, he and his family.
Oh, yeah.
They got public assistance, they got
college assistance and everything. You couldn't, most of our own people don't get the level of treatment and support that they got.
Right.
To college, financial treatment, because he was in Massachusetts, which is very
liberal
with that. Yeah.
Well, he also got the very best defense attorney for death penalty cases, handling his case. So he's been given every benefit of the doubt.
Right.
The question is, which is worse? To have him in this little 4x6 cell, spending the rest of his days, 23 hours a day in it, and 1 hour outside and making 15-minute phone calls a month, or to terminate his life. And I don't know which is the better solution, and I don't know which is the more merciful solution in this case.
Obviously, it's very difficult, and as I said, Jesus is my straitjacket. Okay, he's going to spend either or, he's going to be 14 years, he's going to spend his life for the next, either he's going to spend there the rest of his life there, or he's going to spend at least the next 11 to 14 years on appeal that he's going to be alive, and he's going to be used by the terrorist community as a hero. He is a hero to them right now. I mean, I'd make him a martyr. Osama bin Laden, I would have done the same thing as the president said. Hit the man, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I just know my own nature. You know, I'm gonna take him out. He's a serious threat to all our population, all our innocent population. That's my real problem is I see a big difference between your local murderer and your rapist and your other thing between somebody who is a warrior. We're talking about a warrior deliberately heading to another place with the deliberate action not to kill military. That bothers me more than anything. That enrages me. But I'm going to go after the innocents to scare the whole population. It's all about the deliberate action of fear. The bigger, the better. I mean, I hate to say it, I could be a great terrorist, I think. As some people have told me that I'm sick, but you know.
Yeah. Well, and you know, and in Europe and in Great Britain, they've gone through recent events. In Paris, we had the Charlie Hebdo situation. Another bombing, another.
Journalist against guys like you.
Well, I can't blame him for that, but.
Well, I might not have.
No,
I accept that, please.
But you're right. But they did it to maximize the degree of fear.
Of what you might write.
What you might write.
Exactly right.
And so, how the French and the rest of Europe handled it has been very swift and very thorough.
I like swift and thorough.
But we have a different standard here in the United States. Yeah. We do. We have a different standard which is beyond all reasonable doubt. And I give the defense attorney credit that she's gone out of her way to try and establish a reasonable doubt. I know Russ. And I have the same issue as far as that goes.
I know.
And that's part of the ambivalence.
It's serious. Yeah, right.
But you're certain. The majority of people are not certain about this, about what to do, what's the best thing, and what it represents. What it represents for us as people to do that.
I guess maybe go ahead, Mike.
You've actually got to separate. I think you've got to separate the act, which is the actual bombing and the killing, and then try and separate that from the motivation. What was the motivation?
What was his reason?
What was behind it? Who was he representing? What is the cause that he's trying to?
I think that is really clear. I don't think there is any remorse. I think he is clear on it. Even his writing in the book.
No, but I'm saying they're Chechen.
Yep.
Yeah, Chechens.
Yeah, he's real
but
clear.
Who are the Chechens? The Chechens were persecuted by Russians. The Chechens are Islamic.
Yeah, I know.
Essentially.
Yeah, exactly right. But I don't care about his religion. And I don't care the reason